What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Off the Couch Boxing. I am your host, Reckless Rex Ruger, along with the Alexis Arguello puppet, a.k.a. El Flaco Explosivo.
And I'm your other host, Frank Benjies, back with another episode.
Yeah, got ourselves a good young man coming on here who got to clear something up with him, though, because he seems to have two box wrecks. So
the reason I'm here tonight, boy.
I'll have to ask him about two I'll have to ask him why two varying box wrecks. Very strange. He may not even be aware. I don't know, but he's got one that has him with a lot more fights than the other one does. I know which one is the real one, obviously, because I know this young man's history a little bit, but very strange, though. Box wreck can't seem to get shit right, though. Our last guest we had earlier today, man, told us he's not even a middleweight, and they had him down as a middleweight.
Right.
So... excuse me. Come on, Box Wreck. Get your fucking heads out of your ass. Our guest is here, so we'll sort that out with him. We'll get it sorted. We'll get it sorted. We always do here at Off the Couch Boxing. Always. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? We got him. Hey, Hector, what's up? How's it going, man?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Good. We lost your camera. There you go. There you go. So first of all, Hector Valdez, I appreciate you being here, man. Got to ask you right off the rip, though, man. I just was doing a little research on you, getting my notes together. I don't know if you're aware of this, but you have two box wrecks.
No, I don't.
You're 16-0 on one, which I believe is your actual record, correct?
Right. Yeah, that's me.
The other one has you at 36-7.
Whoa.
And it's your picture. And it's your picture for both of them, which is weird.
Wow, that's crazy. No, I don't know. I don't know about the other one. I haven't checked.
Yeah, how dare that other one hang 7 L's on your record? Not cool at all. Yeah, box wreck. Our last guest that we had on earlier is not even a middleweight, and we were just talking with him. They had him down as a middleweight. So I don't know what box wreck is doing over there, man. If somebody's asleep at the wheel, I don't know what else to say, man. I mean, yeah it's pretty crazy.
To check that out. I'm gonna have to check.
So you are a super bantamweight, correct?
Right.
Want to make sure they got that right, but yeah. So as you can see right there, and I don't know if our audience can see that, but you see the record?
Oh yeah, I do see it.
36-7. Yeah, weird.
That is weird.
Yeah, that's kind of strange, man.
I've heard I've heard in the past that box wreck is kind of shitty at times, though.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know what the hell, man. But I mean, I could see be off by a little bit, man. Did we lose our guest?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm still here.
No, he might be looking up that box wreck.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No,
but just because we can't see you.
I don't know what happened.
There should be a camera thing down at the bottom of the screen there.
Oh, I see it. There you go.
There you go. Yeah. So the super bantamweight division, though, man, has been pretty exciting, though, lately, man. I mean, there's a lot of big fish out there suddenly swimming around. I mean, the top of the list has got to be a guy like Inui, correct?
It is. They got
He's the big prize.
But we're actually gonna try to go down to 118 for these next fights.
Okay. Jeez, man. What I would give to be 118 pounds again.
Yeah. 118 is actually my weight class. I've been fighting at 122 for a few, just because I was being lazy. But as competition is growing, I think I'm gonna have to go down to 118 and then climb back up.
Now, how and why boxing, man? Like, were you a kid that got in a lot of fights as a kid, man? Like, how did you arrive at boxing?
Really, it was just because I was just an active kid, and my parents just, couldn't keep me, focused on anything. So my dad took me to a boxing gym. I tried baseball, I tried soccer, but nothing was really catching my attention. And then my dad tried boxing, and it just happened that I ended up liking it, and I kept with it.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. So did you have any guys that you looked up to and kind of idolized, like when you were coming up, that you kind of put up on that pedestal?
I used to watch Oscar De La Hoya a lot, and I loved Oscar
That's
De
my
La
guy.
Hoya.
Yeah.
And I also liked Sugar Shane Mosley. Mosley was one of my favorite.
Yeah, we were just talking about him earlier today, right? We were actually surprised that he had 10 losses. It boggles my mind to think when I remember how great he was that he actually has 10 losses. But when you look up his
Yeah.
losses, there's none to be ashamed of, though. He lost to all amazing fighters, though.
Yes, sir. Exactly.
I mean, I guess you never want to take an L, I mean, but so what's the so how many times were you able to fight in 2023?
Last year, I'm actually coming back from a little hiccup that we had in our career, so I didn't really get to fight. But this year, hopefully I'm coming back with a bang.
And are you ranked by any of the alphabet organizations?
Yes,
You were.
I think. Yeah, I was ranked. I think number 7 or 6 in the what is it, the IBF or something like that.
And when you look around you at your peers, because obviously everybody in the sport, it's obviously not a team sport. It's every man for himself. But are there guys that you're able to kind of step back and look at that are currently doing it, who you admire or are some of the guys that you like to watch?
Oh yeah, of course. I have a lot of friends that I came up with, and also that I'm training with, and I look at them, and they're it just pushes me. Like for example, Franco, Bam, Virgil Ortiz. Virgil Ortiz.
Yeah.
I've known him since we were both kids.
Looked good last week.
Yeah,
Good to see him back.
bad stoppage by Tony Weeks, but Ortiz looked good.
Yeah, still happy
Yeah.
that Ortiz won. A little bit of a premature stoppage. I don't know what's happening to Tony Weeks, man. He used to be one of the best, man. It might be time to put him out the pasture, man. I don't know, man. He's gotten it wrong a couple times, man. He shouldn't have stopped.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have stopped Rolly and Barroso either. Horrible. I'll tell you what. Nobody wants to tangle with that Barroso guy. And I don't know. He's about 75 years old, if he's anything. I don't know, man. It's hard to tell how old that guy is, man.
Really is.
Yeah, man, but he's really good, man. He got a heart of a lion.
And they say that he hits like a truck, though, man. All the guys that are in there with him say, they always say that the punch is the last thing to go on a guy. So, I mean.
I'm kind of curious to ask you this. Just fighting at the lower weights and stuff. A guy that I personally, kind of like a little bit is Sam Goodman. You ever thought about a Sam Goodman fight?
I don't know who he is actually.
He's at Super Bantam. I know that he is at Super Bantam.
Yeah, I think he's
Bantam.
I think he's like a top 5. I think he's like a top 5 kind of guy. Like
he's a UK guy. Yeah, he's a guy from the UK.
Oh, okay. No, I haven't even seen him.
Go ahead.
No, he said he didn't see him. He said he hadn't seen him.
Yeah, and also, who was the guy that Inui beat earlier this year? Fulton? Yeah.
Fortuna? Yeah.
No, Stephen Fulton.
Stephen Fulton.
Oh, yeah,
that's
Fulton.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know,
that's he's great. He's a great boxer. And the way that Inui took care of that was just amazing.
Yeah. So no designs. Do you have any designs on wanting an Inui fight? If an Inui fight presented itself, though, is it a fight that you would, that you would welcome?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I think anybody would want to fight him. I mean, he's a future Hall of Famer, and if I was to have a crack at him, and that would be great.
Yeah, he is.
Do you think it's a little bit like disheartening though that every fight that he kind of takes is just over in Japan and he doesn't really come over here and give our guys the shine? Like, come fight over here in our backyard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean he is the shot caller at this point, so I mean he gets to say I want to fight over here, I want to fight over there, I want to fight him. But I mean, it would be different if he would come over here, I think, because as far as the American fighters, when they go fight over there, I know it's different with them, with their whole body and everything, because they're fighting over there at pretty much at 6 o'clock in the morning over here.
Right.
Yeah, it is crazy early, man. Yeah. That time.
I watched that Inui Fulton fight at friggin' like 8 in the morning. I think it was 8 in the morning. I watched them fight.
And that time difference will do you in too. I mean, even just the whole experience of flying over there and the time difference and even getting used to that. You know, I mean, you got to get over there like a while before your fight.
Yes, sir. Exactly. And then even the food is different. I mean, it's just stuff that you have to like, I guess, lock into it.
Would you think that if you were gonna fight over there, that it would almost make sense to just like maybe do like a whole training camp over like the whole 6 weeks over there?
Yeah, I actually know somebody that did that, like George Linares. You know, he used to train in Japan, and I think that's one of the best ways to do it, is to have a training camp over there. That way, your body adapts to that.
Already activated. Yeah.
Now, you talked about going down in weight. Are you one of these guys who fluctuates a lot from your fighting weight, or do you pretty much walk around, you know, in the neighborhood of your weight?
And for 122, I was actually walking at like 130. 130 was probably soaking wet. So that's why at 122 it was really easy. It was really easy. It was just me being lazy and, you know, not wanting to go the extra mile and go to 118. But like I said, I feel like I think at 118 I'm gonna start my climb, and now that I'm you know, becoming ranked in the divisions, you know, I want to be able to be climbing that.
Is there anybody specifically at 118, you know, that you got your eye on?
There's a few, but one person that I wouldn't mind like really have a fight for is that guy that just won yesterday. What's his name? He fought one of my buddies, Saul. He fought in the top rank, the twins.
Oh crap! Are you drawing a blank? I'm drawing a blank on who he's talking about. But
he fought. He fought yesterday on that ESPN card?
On the top rank. Yes, sir.
Yeah. We have to go back and watch.
I'm not gonna lie.
Maloney.
Jason Maloney. Yes. So you'd like to fight him?
Sir.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind fighting him.
He actually won, but he had a hell of a battle yesterday, though, man. One judge had that fight a draw. Yeah, that was a close one. He barely got out of there with that belt, man.
And that was close. That guy that he fought, he's a pretty good friend of mine, and we actually sparred, and you know, he's a hell of a fighter. And I know him I know him real good, and he's a hell of a fighter. I know his brother. I know his coach. You know, so I know it was a good fight. It was a good fight. I know he gave him hell.
Now, so what's the game plan?
I want to ask him. You know, you said about moving back down to 118 and then making your climb from there. Obviously, as guys age, you know, it gets harder to cut weight and move back down or move around as much at all. Like, do you see yourself moving? Like, what do you feel like your ceiling is for how high you could go weight wise?
To be honest, I don't know, but from the past, soaking wet, like I said, I'm probably weighing at 130, 132. So
how tall
I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be. I'm 5'6", 5'7".
Yeah. That's about right. Yeah, because we were talking about that the other day about you know, if Inui could possibly beat you know, Pacquiao's record of like 8 weight classes. So, you know, I guess from where he started, he'd have to go all the way up to what do we figure? 147?
Yeah. He'd have to capture belts at all those weights, though.
Yeah, and that's tough to do, though, especially when you're a short guy, though. Sometimes, you know what I mean? Because when you pack on that weight, you sacrifice. You know.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like a good move sometimes. And so how active would you like to be in 2024? You know, do you have an idea in your mind of how many times you'd like to fight?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I wouldn't mind fighting at least 3 or 4 times a year this year.
Yeah.
At least
that
would be.
And so is the plan to fight for? Is it in the future to fight for any world titles anytime soon? Would you like to fight for one in 2024?
Yes, I would love to fight for one. At least maybe in the end of the year or you know, around there. But I would love take a crack at a world title.
Yeah. Why the hell not?
I mean, you might as well. I mean, especially with all these belts they got floating around, all these different alphabet, they go get you something.
Lomachenko got a title
Exactly.
fight in his second. Lomachenko got a title fight in his second fight, for God's sakes. I mean, I don't know how the hell he finagled that, but he did it though. I mean, you got Uncle Bob on the case,
Yeah,
man.
that was Bob
Yeah.
Arum. Mad.
Yeah, God bless Bob Arum. And now, so the important question here, Hector, is, you know, because we're big on nicknames here. Does Hector Valdez have a boxing nickname?
A lot of the people call me Travieso. That was from I don't know if you ever remember Travieso Arce?
No. Is that Jorge Arce?
Yeah.
Jorge, okay,
Travieso
yes.
Arce. Yes, sir. Well, I didn't get that nickname because of him. But you know, I back in the day I was just a really rowdy kid, and I was always, like I said, I was always active and doing something. So that name kind of just stuck with me. And at that time, I didn't even know, you know, I didn't even know about boxing. And then when I started seeing him, that's when I was like, oh man, he's pretty good. That's nice. That's pretty good. It's nice that they you know, call me that.
And now, are you of Mexican heritage?
Exactly. Yes, sir.
So obviously, you know, Mexico has given us so many amazing fighters. You know, in your opinion, who's the best fighter to come out of Mexico? Who's that guy for you?
For me, in my era, I want to say it's Marquez.
Juan Manuel God
Marquez.
bless you, man.
Yes, sir.
I think he's not only one of the greatest Mexican fighters, I think he's one of the greatest fighters, period, of all time.
Yes, sir.
Amazing.
Yes, sir.
Amazing.
Bro, that knockout, if that straight right hand that laid Pacquiao out, will never be forgotten.
Oh,
Picture
man.
Ever.
I can remember that day like if it was yesterday. We were all watching that fight when that happened. Man, we all jumped out.
Yeah, me too. And you didn't see people, and you know, at that point, Pacquiao had some losses, but you never saw anybody knock him out cold and drop him on his face like that.
Yeah.
That just didn't happen to him back then.
No, I don't even think that was really Marquez's like power or anything. It was just such a perfect punch.
Timing.
Like,
Yeah.
Exactly.
It was just so precise.
Yeah, it was all just timing. So if you're not boxing, you know, are there other things that you do in your spare time? I mean, are you one of these guys that plays a lot of different sports, or are you engaged in a lot of different athletic type stuff?
I used to play a lot of sports. I'm not that big on playing a lot of sports anymore. I do a lot of ranching. Yeah, I like roping. I like riding horses.
I see you got the Texas hat on. Texas?
Yeah,
yes, sir.
He's down in Texas, man. Yeah. I don't mind that Texas hat, but I'm not really liking that Cowboys jersey.
Oh man.
They got spanked today.
They got bad, man.
And of course, that's coming from me. I'm just a bitter New York Giants fan, so that's why I'm saying that. You know what I mean? Obviously the Cowboys are a big division rival, but we've also had a terrible, terrible season. I mean, awful.
I got to ask you, because I asked the last Texas guy we had on here. You know, Big X the Plug? Bitch, I'm from Texas. You know that rap song? That's a good. I like that song.
Yeah.
It makes me wish I was
everywhere.
from Texas.
That's everywhere. Yeah, the time that I was down there. I was down there once for vacation with my wife. We went to a friend's wedding, man, but I couldn't get over the friggin' heat, though. It was hot. It was hot the whole time we were there.
Yeah,
well,
yeah. In
the
heat, it gets hot.
You're talking to a couple upstate New Yorkers, too, so we're not used to 105 and shit.
No, we're in upstate New York. We're in upstate New York right now, where it's in the teens, at least. The teens.
I bet you it's lower than that.
I was in San Diego one time for a fight, and some of the residents there, they were saying, "Oh man, it's super hot right now. It's record high right now," and it was like 87. And I'm like, "What? This is hot?
Yeah,
that's great."
That's nothing for you. You probably got the air conditioner set on that.
How do you?
How do
you deal with like the spiders and the? Are they really like that? Like out like that all the time? Because people act like you go to Texas and you can't get scorpions out of your shoes and shit. Like, you know what I mean? Or like
not in Dallas. In Dallas, but I don't live in Dallas. I live in the country. Like I live like an hour away from the big city, Dallas.
Okay.
So in Dallas, you don't get too much of that. But over here where I live, then you do. Sometimes you even have to, check your boots or whatever, or check under your pillow, because sometimes you'll see you'll see spiders, you'll see scorpions, you even see snakes down there. So
That's the one that would worry me the most. Yeah, the rattlesnakes. That would scare the shit out of me. I'm not a big fan. I could be so. Hey, have you yourself had any encounters with any snakes?
Oh yeah, all the time. But we don't get too many rattlesnakes where we're from. We get a lot of copperheads and a lot of those water moccasins.
Water moccasins. Yeah, we encountered those when we were down there. Yeah, we were taking a dip in one of the rivers or something.
Have you ever heard of a hoop snake? This is something I just learned the other day. There's a thing like in the UK or something called like the hoop snake, and they like sit up on top of hills, and if they see you walking down in the valley like they're venomous, they'll turn into a hula hoop and roll down the hill and spring out and bite you.
Damn, that's crazy. No, I never heard of that
nuts?
God damn, the world has some scary shit, man. It's scary place to live.
And a fucking hula hoop snake just starts rolling down the hill.
And now, so you say you have a ranch and you do roping. Like, how good at that are you? Because I see those guys that do the rodeo shit where they're just, boom, they're fucking taking down cows like crazy.
No, I'm not that good. It's just a pastime. I do a lot of my family. They put on goat roping shows.
Okay.
So it's the same thing as roping roping a steer, but instead of being on a horse, they do it on foot, and they do goats. So it's a smaller event.
Yeah, that's probably safer too. You got to protect those hands, right? You can't be falling off no horse.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Those are the money makers right there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So 118 pounds. Jason Maloney's the guy you got your crosshairs so I can set on. That's the fight you'd like to see happen.
Yes, sir. That would be a fight that I would love to take.
Is there going to be some retribution, man? I mean, is there a little bit of retribution? I don't know how boxers' mentality think, but is there a little bit of, he beat your friend last night. You kind of want some get back on behalf of your friend?
Not really. Like I said, Maloney, he's a good guy. They from what I know, they're respectful and everything. But I do think that he has. Yeah, I do think that he has that style that will bring, pretty good. We'll make a good night. We'll have a real good night.
As you continue to grow as a fighter, are you able to kind of expound a little bit on the things that you think you need to get better at?
Yes, I need to get better at boxing, because I'm real hot headed, and as soon as I get hit or start feeling like I'm getting hit, I want to just brawl, and that's not that's not always the answer. So I have to get better with boxing more.
Yeah, a self-discipline thing, kind of.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We've had a few people on here and we've debated getting back to the Mexican fighters. We've gotten varying answers on this, but we're looking at two great Mexican warriors in Canelo Alvarez and David Benavidez.
He kind of looks like David Benavidez.
He kind of does. He kind of does. And if Canelo Alvarez doesn't fight David Benavidez, do you feel like that tarnishes his legacy a little bit? Obviously, Canelo can call his own shots. You were mentioning earlier about Inouye. Canelo has made a lot of money. He can call his own shots. He can walk away from the sport right now, and nobody would question his resume at all. But do you think that he kind of needs this Benavidez fight, though? Do you think it's a fight that he should give the boxing fans? It's been clamored about for so long.
I don't think he needs to fight, but I think that if he wants to be known, as the greatest for the fans, I think he should give that fight because all the fans want it. There's a lot of doubt in Canelo I'll say it like this: in Mexico, he's more. They treat him more as a show off, as a upper class guy, and if they would give him, Canelo. So I think he's more loved in the United States than he is in his own town.
Okay.
But like I said, he should give that fight to us. He's the Benavidez fight, because I know Benavidez is hungry. He wants it, and I know it will be a good fight
and very deserving.
So no, do you dispel this? Because we hear this a lot. Canelo says he doesn't want to give Benavidez the fight because he doesn't want to fight another Mexican. Is there any like validity to that? Like white guys fight white guys, black guys fight black. Everybody fights. You know what I mean? We don't just. What do you think about
that? I don't know. I don't think that's right. I mean, I don't think that's right at all. I mean, hell, he wants to fight. He should fight. They really there's no color in this sport. I mean, it's boxing. It's boxing. There ain't no color about this. There's nothing, there's sometimes people that, I got friends that are African Americans, white, and they're going against a Mexican. They're like, no, you should be going for the Mexican. I'm like, nah, for what? There's this, this is boxing. I'm not gonna go for somebody because he's the color of my skin or he's my heritage. I want to go for whoever I want to go for.
The great Julio, you're right. The great Julio Cesar Chavez would never do this. He would fight anybody.
Exactly. Yes.
I mean, if you want to, I get what you're saying. If you want to endear yourself to the Mexican people, and as you kind of alluded to, he's not as popular down there, amongst his fellow countrymen as he is here in the United States. But I think the Mexicans, appreciate when you take on those dogs. You know what I mean? Those guys that you need on your resume.
Yeah. See, in the Mexican people, that culture, it's different because they really don't care if you lose. They just care if you make a fight. Bring Mexico and held them up high. Bring a fight. Winning all the time.
That's why I kind of asked you that question about the Mexican on Mexican thing. It's just because to me, right. If two Mexicans that are huge in the sport fight each other, that's just huge for Mexico.
Huge, yeah,
exactly.
I wouldn't see why you wouldn't want to make that happen. I mean, that's great for the country, and especially like when you do it on, obviously Canelo likes to fight a lot on Cinco de Mayo weekend. He likes to fight a lot in September and in May. So I mean, like if you make something like that happen, it's huge. Like they're talking about the Teofimo Lopez. Jermaine Ortiz fight being on the same weekend as the Puerto Rican Day Parade. That's huge,
Yeah.
That's a big deal. It's a big deal for the sport. It really is. So where do you stand on like these gimmick fights that we see? We always ask everybody where they stand on these because they've taken over the sport. Like when you see an MMA guy fighting a boxer, or you see these YouTuber fights where you see like a guy like Jake Paul making a ton of money boxing. Do you ultimately like these for the sport, or do you think that they detract from it?
It's obviously not boxing. It's not real boxing. I mean, I can say it. I can, dress it up as much as they want, but it's not boxing. But it is bringing love to the sport because now people are watching it that have never cared about boxing. They've never even put a pair of gloves on, but since all these YouTubers and famous people are getting into it, boxing is becoming the #1 sport now. So it's a good thing in that way. But it's also I just don't think I think they should just stay on their side of the playing field and let the boxers do what boxers do.
Yeah, do you think it's in? Go ahead.
Just have them all on that misfits boxing league. Whatever.
Yeah, they have their own boxing league. I know, it's crazy. Misfits boxing. I don't know if that's a championship belt you want to have, man, to be like the Misfits middleweight champion. I don't know. That doesn't seem to carry a lot of validity.
But hey, like I said, I mean, Jake Paul, I mean, he's doing actually some things for the community. I mean, he's helping the USA boxing. He's actually has changed a couple lives that I know personally. and
Is it?
for putting them on his fight cards, it's changed people's lives.
Oh,
So
sure. Yeah. He's getting people paid. That's for sure. Now,
Yeah,
do you like?
yes, sir.
Yeah, he's definitely getting people paid.
That Amanda Serrano made a whole hell of a lot of money.
Made a lot of money on his cards. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. And he seems to like to put shine on female fighters. I mean, he always seems to have a
Yeah.
female fighter or two on his cards, which is good. I mean, it's everybody's got to make money somehow. I mean, that's where we should have. That's what we should have gotten into. Become a YouTuber first, and then a boxer. That's how you make the big bag, I guess. Right? That's the recipe.
I think one thing I don't kind of like about it though is like, and I don't know, we're in a lot of boxing groups on Facebook because we do the show and stuff. It sort of does bring a little bit of a weird crowd to mix in with the real boxing crowd.
Yeah.
Like it's a weird dynamic in there now a little bit.
Yeah, it is weird.
Yeah, because it kind of brings like the wrestling crowd,
Yeah,
and
these
I love
fantasy
wrestling.
fight
I love
guys.
watching
Yup.
wrestling.
Yeah. It's got a very WWE vibe to it for sure.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it because it almost seems like there's like a circus atmosphere to the whole thing. It's hard to take it really serious. But the people all seem
Jake and Logan Paul are a WWE faction.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. And now, so do you have an idea on when your next fight is going to be in terms of a date or when you'd like to be fighting again?
I would like to fight somewhere within like May or June.
Okay.
Because like I said, I just came back from this little thing that I had, and I got maybe about another 2 more weeks of this, and then I'll be 100%. I've been training, but I would love to go to camp, have a full camp, and then get into it.
And typically, are you one of these guys that goes like very far from home for camp, or is camp kind of in the area?
For these past times I've been going to Riverside, California with Robert Garcia.
We've had him on. Great guy. Yeah, love Robert. Yeah, he's one of the best in the business. So is Robert Garcia? Obviously he's got the gym or whatever. He trains fighters, but is he specifically your trainer?
He is now. I was with another guy. His name is Hector Beltran and Virgil Ortiz Sr.
Okay.
But for this last fight that I was gonna fight last year, that I ended up going with Robert Garcia just because they were kind of busy with Virgil. So I let them deal with Virgil's situation, and I went over here with Robert. So it'll be interesting this next fight to see who am I gonna go with, if I'm gonna go back with Virgil and Hector, or if I'm gonna go over here with RGBA and be with Robert.
Now, obviously, man, you are a guy who's still very young in the sport, but obviously you talked about having a family and having a ranch and stuff. Have you thought about when the right time for you to stop boxing is, and have you thought about like life after boxing, and what does that look like for you?
I haven't thought that far. It feels like every time I try to step away, I step deeper in it, I don't know. I feel like this sport is just a part of me now. Like if it, even when I try to walk away from it, I don't feel the same anymore, and I kind of get depressed. I literally get depressed, and I don't feel right. And people, my wife, and they tell me, they're like, no, I think you have to train, you have to do something because you're going down.
I'm glad you said that, because Tyson Fury gives all the credit in the world to, he's actually afraid to retire because he said that same thing. And obviously he went through a lot of mental health issues. He went through addiction or whatever. He says he worries about the man that he becomes when he's not in the boxing world. You know what I mean? So I kind of get that mindset. He's worried to stop and turn the switch off because he doesn't want to backslide into bad behaviors. He's been pretty candid about that.
I mean, I feel like one thing we all need as men, and I feel like we all like graduate high school and move on from playing sports, and we all just, it's like that thing you just can't ever, like, you watch a high school basketball game or a football game, you just into it. Like, I just want to be out there doing it with them.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. And I feel like that's I mean, I feel like, I don't know, a lot of these people that I know, friends and stuff, and I know, and they kind of, after a while, after high school, I see them again, and they're just different. They're like out of it, and I feel like
Yeah.
that's part of it. Like they kind of get synced into the system, and it's just work, home, and
Tell me
you just
about
kind
it.
of die
I,
a
I,
little bit. So
I'll tell you what, man. I feel like that's one of the reasons why we started doing this thing we're doing is this because if you just get caught up in that work home,
Yeah, you make a
you
good
know,
point. Yeah, you make a good point. You kind of got to have like you kind of got to have that one thing that's kind of like that's separate from everything else. You know what I mean? Like some way to
exactly, yeah.
express
Escape.
yourself, whether it's athletically or creativity, like we're doing here, man. But you got to have something else because you're right. You just go insane with that same routine every day. Like I work in healthcare. I'm a nurse. It's up every day. Go to work, come home. I get what you're feeling. You almost feel like Groundhog Day, like you're doing the same thing every day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Depressing. It is depressing. And I mean, come on. It's not so bad getting paid to punch people in the face for a living either. I mean, that's a bonus. I mean,
that is a bonus.
come on. I mean, and so
Really.
The plan is then to be fighting around May or June. Would you prefer that it's the Jason Maloney fight, or do you think realistically it'll be somebody else?
Realistically, it'll be somebody else. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be another good fight. And then after that, we'll see how we go from there, and then we'll be going towards that fight.
Do you expect in yourself that the next fight that you go out there and fight, do you expect that you'll have a little ring rust on you, or do you expect that you'll be back to business?
I guess we're just gonna have to see whenever I start sparring, start sparring some bigger competition. But as far as being in the ring, I don't think I will have any ring rust, because if all that kind of goes away after you're sparring. Because
Yeah.
sometimes I'm not gonna lie, the sparring, it's for me, it's sometimes way more difficult, way more. It's hard. It's more difficult than the actual fight.
Yeah. James Toney used to go to the gym, and he got to the point where he didn't want to hit a heavy bag. I watched this documentary about him. Didn't want to hit a heavy bag, didn't want to hit the mitts. He would just go to the gym and just spar all day, just spar. That's all he liked doing. Just wanted to mix it up with people and just spar. That was his training right there. Just getting in there and doing round after round after round, taking on all comers, anybody that's in the gym, hop in the ring with him. I mean, he just loved the aspect of sparring. It probably does. It probably is a great. It probably is a great training tool though, because obviously it simulates what you're actually going to do. I mean, it's you're doing it.
Exactly. Yes, sir. I had a coach. He passed away a few years back, but rest in peace to him.
Yeah.
He that's pretty much what we did. He used to just love to spar. We'll get there, he'll tell us, go run, spar. You're gonna spar this guy. You do 6, 8, 10 rounds. Gonna hit the bags. And the next day you're gonna spar again. We sparred almost every day for the whole week. But that right there was the way. And he was actually the same coach that Virgil Ortiz had. So
okay,
you see where Virgil's at now. So
yeah. Now, do you believe in the theory of a weight bully? Like, do you like when you see fights and they have these hydration clauses or these, you can't put on a certain amount of weight? There's a lot of talk about them bringing back same-day weigh-ins. Obviously, we saw recently Devin Haney hopped on the scales at 140, and then he came in on fight night, 165 pounds. You know what I mean? Several weight divisions above where he was fighting. You put any stock in that? How do you feel like about the whole weight issue? Do you believe that guys should weigh in on the same day? Do you believe there should be these clauses to protect fighters? Like, where do you stand on that?
I feel like I feel like the weight clauses. I mean that I don't know. I guess I'm feel like they shouldn't happen. I mean, they never happened back in the day, I guess, or at least not that I know of. So I don't. I think people are just finding other reasons or other ways to make excuses. So
Is
I
it
mean,
detrimental? Like, let's say like you fight at 118 and you make weight and your opponent makes weight at 118. Then you go up like 6 or 7 pounds and he goes up 20. You know, do you feel like this is like, okay, this is not really on a level playing field, or do you not even care about that?
I don't really care. I
Yeah.
don't really care. The reason for that is because I'm used to sparring, people that are always 20 pounds, 30 pounds heavier than me. So
Right.
it doesn't really. But like I said, different people have different views. So, but
Yeah, the
that's just
weight
the
thing.
way that we got brought up.
Yeah, the weight thing has become a big deal, man. I don't know, man. It's one of those things that, the one thing I hear bandied about a lot in boxing is always the weight issues, and then like what we get with some of the referee stoppages that we talked about earlier. You know what I mean? I think sometimes those detract from the sport a little bit. Like when you get an early stoppage, like again, super happy for Virgil Ortiz. Great to see him come back, but you'd like to see him a little bit more. You know, I think even he was a little disappointed. I think he wanted to get some more rounds in. He'd been away for a while.
Definitely, I know he was disappointed, and I know he wanted to get more rounds in, especially to showcase everything that he's been doing, because he
Yeah.
wants to make a big statement at 154. So I know he's disappointed, or was disappointed.
Well, for God's sake, man, we got to get that Ismael Barroso. We got to get that guy a title shot before he keels over and dies. I mean, the guy's already old. We got to get some hardware around that guy's waist, man. He deserves it, man.
Oh yeah.
And it looks like we're finally going to see the big Artur Beterbiev, Dimitri Bivol fight. Obviously, Beterbiev looked great last night.
Man, that fight's gonna be awesome. I'm telling you, that's gonna be a classic.
Are there any fights, like, if you could put your imaginary promoter hat on, are there any fights that, as a fight fan, that you're really dying to see? Obviously, we hear about, Canelo and Benavidez, Beterbiev and Bivol. Are there any fights like that for you, like as a fight fan, that you would love to see come to fruition?
I would love to see a Crawford and Inoue fight.
Wow. Yeah, I have seen that bandied around a little bit. But
man, that's a fight that I would love to see.
I mean, do you think that
Inoue
fight
can get all the way up to 47?
Yeah, can he get up to 147? Inoue, you think?
I don't know. Maybe he might. He might be another Pacquiao. I mean, I guess it's kind of weird, but he's kind of big, and he got some big old calves. So I mean, like I said, it's like maybe like Pacquiao. He probably has all his weight in his legs.
Yeah, that would be a good fight. And I think Crawford's kind of laying back on his haunches a little bit right now, though, because suddenly we're not hearing word about anybody. But as of right now, it looks like the rematch with Spence is off.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
it looks like it's gonna be off.
He's not going after Spence no more because Spence just had cataract surgery on his eye, and I think Spence's body has really been put through a lot. A lot of people we have on the show say that he had the detached retina, he had that horrible car accident that thank God he walked away from. But that's a lot to put a body through.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to second guess the guy. I mean, but you got to think about your own personal health. Now, you mentioned that you have a wife and and children. How does the wife feel? Because you're talking to a couple of married guys here. How does the wife feel about boxing in general, and you as a boxer?
Well, she was actually a boxer herself, so
nice.
So she kind of knows exactly what how I feel, what I'm going through. Excuse me. She gets the whole thing when it comes to discipline and working and training, leaving.
Yeah.
She gets all that. So that's I think that's a plus for me, because I'm with somebody that supports me, and not just that, but she actually knows what how hard this sport is.
So basically, if I could translate that into married guy language for our audience out there, he's got a wife that isn't going to nag him to death about this boxing.
Yeah,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When you go off to camp, even though you're married, do you still abstain for while you're training?
As far as
the birds and the bees.
Women weaken legs. Women weaken legs.
No, well, when I leave to camp, I mean, she's not around, so
Right.
Yeah.
I stay, I stay
You know,
away.
a lot of guys do it. A lot of guys don't. You know,
Right. It's kind of an old school mentality. We're just curious if guys like still do that or not, because you know, that used to be the golden rule back in the day.
I mean, especially being
Yeah.
a married guy.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, but it's like I said, I go off to camp, so I'm off for, 4, 5, 6 weeks. So
Right.
it's not, I stay away for a good while.
And now, what do you have as far as children, if you don't mind me asking? You got boys, girls?
Yes, sir. I got 2 boys. I got one that he is 2 years old. He just turned 2 in December, and one that's 5 months.
And obviously so early to tell, but you know, if one of your sons comes to you and says, "Dad, I want to box," you know, your reaction is,
I'm gonna have to say, okay, come on, let's get it. But
Yeah.
I mean,
I
your
really
mom
hope
and
that
your
they
dad.
don't. I
Yeah,
know that's
mom
the
and dad
bad
box.
thing.
I know.
Yes, and then my wife, she's actually a coach for amateur boxing. So she goes to the gym and she does her thing, and she takes him along. And he's always out there trying to move, trying to put the hand reps on, and I'm like,
That's
oh
awesome.
man,
He'll be
That's
learning.
awesome.
He'll be learning young.
Yeah, he will
yeah.
be. I think that's the best way, though, man, to start out young. Like I watched a documentary recently that HBO did, a great documentary about Oscar De La Hoya. And I mean, he was already in a boxing ring fucking
I've
around
seen
at
it.
6 years old. You know what I mean? You start him young, you know, it's an
Yeah.
advantage. It is.
Yeah, I've seen
I mean,
that.
I
Yes,
think,
sir.
and so in closing, first of all, we appreciate you coming on, but hopefully you'll keep in touch, and hopefully we can do this again soon. You know, we'd love to have you back on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And we wish you lots of luck, and please keep us posted so we can keep our audience posted. As soon as you know, like, when you're going to fight and who you're going to fight, let us know. We'd love to have you back on, you know, either before the fight or when you're in camp or after the fight. But so please keep us up to speed on what's going on.
I will. Yes, sir. I'll do that.
And go find out what the hell BoxRec is talking about, putting you up there at 36-7. I mean, come on, man. You're going to hang 7 L's? You're going to hang 7 L's on a guy?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at that because I've never seen that. That's crazy.
they got you
I'm gonna have to
listed-
see that.
Yeah, they got you listed at 36-7 with the same amount of knockouts that you have, though, 8 knockouts, and they've got a lot of the same names on the resume, but I don't know like what the second half of the resume is, though. I mean, it's very, very strange, but it's still your picture there, though, which is very weird.
That's crazy. I'm gonna have to look at that because there's no way. I wish I had 37 fights, but there's no way.
Well, listen, man, we really appreciate you joining us, man. It's been great talking to you, man. Please keep in touch. We'll do it again soon, man, and we really appreciate it. We wish you the best of luck with whatever fight comes your way, man.
Yes, sir. Hey, thank you, man. Thank you for having me. You know, it was a pleasure. So yeah, y'all great people. Thank y'all again. And hope to see y'all soon.
And if people want to follow you or find out what's going on with you, how would they go about do that? I mean, you got an Instagram. Did you put stuff up on Facebook?
You can follow me on Instagram under HECTOR VALDEZ Jr.
Okay.
Or on Facebook, HECTOR VALDEZ. But yeah, that's and Twitter. I think it's team_Valdez 95.
Okay.
I think, or something like that. But
okay,
yeah,
cool. Well, we encourage people to keep an eye on your career, man. You're a rising star in this sport, man. I can feel it, man, and I'm happy for you, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it, Hector. Thanks so much for doing this, man. Good talking to you, bud.
Much love.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, have a good one, brother. There he goes, folks. That's a kid on the come up right there, man. Even though BoxRec can't get his record straight, man. Shame on BoxRec, man. Come on, man. Kid is 16-0, 8 knockouts. HECTOR VALDEZ, man. He's someone to watch out for, man. Thought he was a super bantam, but apparently he's going to drop back down to just regular bantamweight. Jason Maloney is a guy that he just called out here on our show who did fight last night. He was successful. He did win. At the time of this recording, it's January 14th. So we saw on the Beater Beef Callum Smith undercard last night. We did see Jason Maloney fight. He eked out a victory at best. One judge even had it a draw. and the other two both had it 116, 112. So again, shenanigans and discrepancies. I don't want to point out the obvious, man, but I don't know how a guy has it even and then two other people have it 116, 112. But, you know, I chalked it up to that's boxing, man. But Hector Valdez is a young man on the come up, man, and hell of a skill set, man, and just an amazing young fighter. We're trying to showcase not only the legends and the luminaries on here, but give these young guys that are on the come up a platform too, man. You know, I mean, that's how they become legends.
Yep.
And that's
like and subscribe, hit the notification bell. Shout out Hector Valdez for coming on the show.
Woo!
Shout out Gary Busey, because I can go 15 seconds with anything.
Yeah, and Alexis Arguello particularly liked tonight's episode. He loved to see a Mexican fighter on here. It got El Flaco Explosivo very excited tonight, man. He was so happy that a Mexican fighter was on here that he literally was speechless all night, which is nothing new for him, I guess. But he tonight he was literally speechless. But we've gotten to be so used to him adding nothing to the show and contributing nothing that it's not really a big surprise. But
hey,
yeah,
man, he looks good doing it though.
He looks good doing it. One of the best mustaches that ever graced any sport, and a little sneak peek for the fans because I think our loyal fans do deserve it. But there will be something in the works here with the Arguello family, hopefully very soon, working on getting Alexis's son, Alexis. That's a hard thing to say, Alexis Jr. Holy shit, I didn't realize I was going to have that much time fucking coughing that up. But, hopefully he will be super proud to see his father in puppet form, a legend in our hearts, man. I mean, one of, if not the greatest, certainly one of the greatest fighters of all time. I don't think there's a guy down at the lighter weights who is more dominant than him. I mean,
right.
So, so we appreciate everybody out there, man, continuing to watch. Always new content every single week. You get kick-ass interviews like this. So as Benji said, hit the like and subscribe and the notification buttons and take the ride with us, man. And if you want to continue to be the champion that you are, look at yourself in the mirror and realize that if you want to continue to be that champion, then you got to roll with the champs.